Let's talk to Cut. One more thing, like, subscribe, and share. Come on, let's talk to Cut. Woo!
Hey everybody, it's me, it's Cutler on the Let's Talk to Cutler broadcast, the Let's Talk to Cutler vlog, the Let's Talk to Cutler virtual book club. I am here, it's Thursday already, it is the 12th of May. The month is moving right along and so are we. You all, I'm having a good time. I've had a wonderful day. I hope that you guys have had a wonderful day too. And for anybody who's just stopping by my channel for the very first time, may I remind you that this channel, it's about inspiration, it's about motivation, it's about taking the time to see how we can show up tomorrow a better person, a much better person than we were today. It doesn't mean that today was a flop. It doesn't mean that today was a failure. It doesn't even mean that today went bad at all. It just means that we're taking the time to do what we do, to see how can I grab a few nuggets from today? How can I reflect on today? How can I do some introspection on today to see how I can show up a little bit better tomorrow than I did today? Because I don't know about you, but for me, it's about inertia, which means that I'm on this trajectory that keeps me going. It means that once I start, there's no stopping me. How about you all? I hope and I wish that we could get to the point when we say, once I get started, there simply is no stopping me. Because that's the dynamics of life. That is the dynamics of my soul. That is the dynamics of my heart. That is the dynamics of my spirit. It is my intention to keep going. And once the button was turned on, it doesn't get turned off until the creator calls me home, and that's when it's turned off. But I want to just remind you all to be encouraged, to keep loving, keep living, and all of that kind of stuff. Because as you all may remember, we've been reading from this book right here, When I Am Overwhelmed, How to Handle Life at Its Most Intense Moments. And one of the things that we've been looking at is really just how to be true to ourselves, how to make sure that we have a community of believers with us, how to make sure we have a community of supporters with us, a community of winners with us, and all of those things. We've been talking about making sure that we say the right things, do the right things, and be the right things, not necessarily for anybody else, but for ourselves. And once we learn how to be the right things for ourselves, then we can offer ourselves the right thing to somebody else. So listen, I want you to hang on because I have something that I definitely want to share with you. You all helped me write a couple of poems, and I need to share that with you all this evening. You know, the last time we talked about remembering to keep learning, because we said when you learn, you grow. And when you grow, you live. And when you stop living, you start dying. All right. We talked about all of that. We talked about challenging each other to do new things, challenging each other to do innovative things, and we challenge each other to do things that we don't necessarily do, or not of things that we haven't necessarily done before. And I told you how one of my friends challenged me in my poetry, and I said, I'm up for the challenge. Challenge me. If it's going to push me to better, if it's going to push me to greatness, if it's going to push me to success, if it's going to push me to accomplishments, if it's going to push me to victory, challenge me. And then make sure when I get to that place in that space, make sure that you are there with me, because just as much as I want to be a success, I want everybody else to be a success as well. There's no fun being a success if you're there by yourself, because you have no one with whom to share it. There is no fun being a success if you have to be a success by yourself, because there is no one there to remind you from whence you came. All right, so listen. Just give me 1,800 seconds. I promise you, I'm never going to worry your nerves. I don't know if I'm going to do all 1,800 seconds tonight, but I'm going to do what we're here to do. You all tell people to come on and let's talk to color. Are you inviting people to this channel? That's what I need to know. Are you all inviting people to come on and let's talk to Cutler? Let me see who our LTTC VIPs are for the evening. LTTC VIPs are the people, they are the Let's Talk to Cutler very important people. Now, let me just say this. Everyone here is a very important person. It just so happens that I tend to shout out the top 3 people who jump into the chat, who sometimes beat me into the chat. So let me just see who they are. Tracy Johnson says, hey, everyone. Good evening, Cutler. I'm ready for the poem. Well, Tracy, you got 3 for the price of 1, my friend. It's not just 1, but there are 3. Let's see. Annie Cutler says, Get aboard, let's ride. Ride, yes, because we're going somewhere. We're on this highway to this place, and this space is called better, and we are riding. And then coming in third, rounding out third, is our good friend Fabulous Me. Says, hey, ready for the ride. Fabulous, I hope your family is watching and with us this evening, because if they're not, tell them to come on and get around the screen and listen, because I have some creative things that I'm going to do. I am so excited, you all, because when we last chatted, I asked you all a series of questions, and I was getting ready to say I don't have the questions with me. I really do. I have them right here. I asked you all a series of questions, and I told you that in posing those questions, that I would use your responses to help craft a poem. Well, guess what? Words to me are creative. Some people see them as abstract, but I see them as telling stories. I see unrelated words sometimes that come together and they paint a picture. They paint a picture, they tell a story, and the story may end up, they make a thought, and the thought may be a sentence, it may be a paragraph, it might be a chapter, it might be a whole book, or it might even be a poem, a piece of prose, a poetry. And so I wanted to share with you, because I asked the question last time. I asked you all, why do we stop learning? Do you all remember these questions? I asked you all, why do we stop learning? And then I asked, why do we stop believing? I asked you all, why do we stop laughing? What do you now know about life that you didn't know before? What do you know now about yourself that you did not know before? I even asked about your favorite sound and your least favorite sound. So I want us this evening to have what I call a poetry jam, a poetry slam. I want you all to see how you can take your words and how your words have power, because many of you who have been with me for a while, you all remember ever so often we would play word guard, and we would toss out those words that speak positivity over our lives and positivity over the lives of the people who are connected to us. And we talked about how words have power, how our tongue has power, how the power of life and death is in our tongue. So we have to be careful whether or not we are speaking life or speaking death. And I've often offered us, sometimes when I come here, I come with an offering. I've often offered us the power to speak death to the words of death that were spoken over us. And I know that seems to be we would call that almost like a nested do loop, to speak death over the words of death that was spoken over you. And you have to say that sometimes. I tell you all, I told you one of my friends would often say, I speak death to those words. So when someone speaks something negative to you, learn how to speak death to those words. All right, I want to get started. I want to share with you some of the poems. Fabulous. Yeah, I know kids would jump in and out, and so that's okay. But they can catch the replay. They can catch whatever part they catch, and that is fine. But let me share with you. I want to share with you your response. I want to share with you what I did with your response to these words. Remember, you all, words are not just words, but words paint pictures. Words not only paint pictures, but words will create portraits. Words don't just create portraits, but words will weave a quilt together. Words will weave fabric together, and words will weave our lives together. And so we have to be very careful with our words. We have to be ever so careful with our words. And so while you all thought perhaps that you were just giving me words, you were giving me so much more than just words, but you were giving me sentences and phrases and words that I could share with you. And so I think I want to start with this other poem. Remember, I asked you all, how long would you tell someone that it takes to bounce back from a heartbreak? How long would you tell someone that it takes to bounce back when they have been knocked down by heartbreak? Sometimes we say things and we have to remember the power of our words, and we have to ask ourselves, are we encouraging? Are we encouraging people? Are we lifting people? Are we being kind to people? Are we nurturing people? Or are we stunting people, holding people, and restricting people? We have to ask ourselves, are we doing all of that? So one of the things that I want to offer you all tonight is the power of what I call bounce back. And before I talk about the power of bounce back, I want you all to do me a favor. You all saw her show up the last time we got together, and she's here this evening. So I want you all to do me a favor. She's so much like, she's a relative, but she's so much more than just a cousin. She's really like my auntie, and she happens to be in the chat tonight. And that is Carol Hampton. Would you all say happy birthday to her? Today really is her actual birthday. And so, Auntie Carolyn, just know that I love you and happy birthday to you. It is good to see you. And what I'm going to do is to share with you all my offering, what I call the power of bounce back. And again, remember the answers that you all gave me, because when I asked you, how long should we tell someone that it takes them to bounce back from heartache? Some of you said, well, maybe 3 days, maybe 6 days, maybe 3 months, maybe 6 months. Some of you said maybe a year. Some of you said however long it takes. Some of you said, let the person cry and yell and scream and let as long as it takes them. So may I share this with you all, just from the words that you all gave me. Here is one of the poems that I crafted, and it is titled, My Bounce Back Talks Back and Lied. I cried today. I sighed today. I even lied today. I lied about how to get back, come back, and bounce back after life had hit hard and hurt deep. Heart deep. It hurt like hell. I wanted to scream and yell. I had offered up my heart, and now remained this part that made me cry. I cried when my bounce back answered back and told me that 3 days would only give me 3 ways to cry dry and keep it moving. I cried when my bounce back hollered back and told me that 6 months or even 6 days might not give me the ways to make the progress that I needed. I cried when my bounce back looked back and saw me sitting in the same place, the same space, longing for the same embrace after 1 year, watching as each new tear rolled down the face of humanity, my humanity. I sighed when my bounce back held back the temptation to tell me how long the hurt would last, how soon the pain would pass, that a day would come at last when I could get back on track and finally concede that bouncing back is a unique journey. So take all the time you need. All right, that is the first one. And that's called My Bounce Back Talks Back and Lied. Let me know what you all think about that. And just as a way of inspiring, motivating, encouraging, and challenging, may I remind you that as we are going through these trying times of life, as we're dealing with these overwhelming moments of life, as we're dealing with these very intense moments of life, remember this. Remember that your journey does not necessarily look like anybody else's. Remember that you don't have to fit anybody else's template of what your recovery has to look like. Remember that you are just as unique as your situation. You are just as unique as your problem. You are just as unique as the thing that you're going through. So your journey to recovery doesn't have to look like anybody else's. And so there are some times, and that's why I got the name of this poem, My Bounce Back Talks Back in present tense and lied, because sometimes when people were telling us what we had to do, what we needed to do, what we should have done, what we could have done, what we must have done to get back, many times they lied. Understand that? So a lot of times when people are trying to tell you how to recover, how to recuperate, how to be revived, and how to be renewed, many times what they're saying, they're just telling you their journey. So many times their bounce back to you lied. And so then you have to hear what talks to you in present tense. That is why this one is called My Bounce Back Talks Back and Lied. All right. All right. I have, let's see. Oh, thank you all. Let's see. Thank you. Envy. Okay. I'm so glad that you all like that one. And of course, the beautiful thing as a writer is that I've already copyrighted these. So it's wonderful. I get a chance to share these with you. I want to share another one with you. Because whereas I was thinking that perhaps I would just write one and that would be it, I told you all words speak to me. Words have power. And sometimes, while they look vague and ambiguous, and while sometimes they look just like an abstract, words dance in the air over my head. And I know that may seem very ethereal for some people, but words do. Words dance in the air over my head. And so many times I find myself trying to pull and trying to grasp the right ones to say what I need to say. And so I want to share with you this one. You may remember I asked the question, why do we stop learning? I asked the question, why do we stop believing? And why do we stop laughing? So I want to share another one with you all, if I may. I want to share. Thank you all so much. I want to share another one with you. Let's see. Let me move that one. And by doing this, you all, the reason that I do this is because I want to encourage you all to write. Many times people say, I just can't write. Cutler, I don't know how you do that. I just can't write. Just pick up a pen or sit at the keyboard and just start writing words, and then look at how the words are connected to each other. And then if the words are not necessarily connected to each other directly, there's what I call a tangent. They may be tangentially related, or they may be the word is like ancillary. They may have some vague connection. And a lot of times a writer or a poet has to build the bridge to connect the words. And do you all remember when we would sometimes play word guard and speaking positivity over our lives? That's all I've done with this next poem. It's called Fabric and Lyrics Bound by One Chord. And again, I got it from the words that you all gave me. Think about your responses to those questions. Why do we stop loving? Not loving? Why do we stop learning? Why do we stop believing? Why do we stop laughing? What do you now know about life that you didn't know? What do you now know about yourself that you didn't know? Listen to what you all told me. I just took the pieces of the puzzle and put them together. And I put them together in this poem that's called Fabric and Lyrics Bound by One Chord. Words weave the fabric of our lives, revealing the patterns of our lives, speaking truth and lies, reminding us how to believe, what to believe, when to believe, and why we no longer believe, conceive, perceive, or retrieve. How do you conceive life when life just happens? How do you perceive the future when the past failure screams so loudly? How do you retrieve joy while wading through puddles of disappointment, pools of sadness and fatigue, and ponds of pain and failure that hurts us, cripples us, and sometimes paralyzes us? Why do we stop believing? Words. Words pull the cords of our lives, cords that contract and expand, relax and demand that we grow and yearn, know and learn, slow down and earn the right to learn again. Learn that life is challenging and comes with heartaches, but I'm stronger than I think, so I don't easily break. Learn that I am smart and I am wise, and that I make the choice to live each day like it's my last, yet I still have a voice that speaks to me, speaks over me, speaks into me, guarding me and helping me to see. To see that it's never too late to get an early start or too early to get a late start, and not to sweat the small stuff because only big dreams belong in my heart. I still have a voice that beckons me to live each day like it's the last, to live in the present and conquer the demons of my past. Why do we stop learning? Words underscore the lyrics of our songs, giving us the rhythm to slowly move along jagged edges that seem to sometimes defeat us, along hidden trails where lies come to greet us, urging us to give up because we are out of time, telling us we know enough so we should now close our minds. But I changed my mind. This time I define the notes and the keys, writing the lyrics that put me at ease, reminding me that I'm not too old and I shouldn't become complacent, that I shouldn't get too comfortable and I shouldn't lose my patience, reminding me to silence the noise and listen to the laughter of the little boys and girls and birds chirping, waterfalls falling, and raindrops dropping. Lyrics that remind me to choose the right path, where I get to chuckle and smile, and I get to laugh and laugh and laugh. Why do we stop laughing? All right, you all, let me know what you think of that one. I took the words that you all gave me. So if you get a chance, please make sure that you go back and watch the broadcast from May 10th. I pulled the words that you all gave me. And from those words, I pulled together these messages. One message that reminds us to keep learning, keep believing, and keep laughing. So that is another one of my offerings to us this evening. Keep learning, keep believing in yourselves. Keep learning and growing and living and keep living and stop dying. Keep laughing and do all of that. All right? I asked another question, and that question was, what would you say? What would you tell your 10-year-old self? So we had all of these questions that I want you all to go back and again, invite people. You all do me a favor. Tell them to look at the May 10th broadcast, see the words that you all gave me, find those words spattered throughout these two pieces of prose and poetry that I've shared. All right? So then, so then, and again, this one is I've copyrighted this one as well, so I'm so very comfortable sharing this one with you all. But I love words, I love poetry, I love what we are able to convey with our words. That is why I love the time that we spend together, because I take your words and I not only I take your words, I digest them, I take them in. Words have the ability to sometimes go where we can't go. I often think of when people are in tragic situations and traumatic situations, and a lot of times we don't know what to do or what to give. But when you speak the words from your heart, it is something about words that come from your heart that and those words have the ability to pierce the heart of another. So it is more than just a cliche that says, use your words carefully. Consider the impact that they're going to have on someone else. I'm leery of people who are not good stewards over their words. I'm leery of people who would just loosely speak and really not care about the impact that the words are going to have on each other. And I want us tonight to understand the impact that our words will have on ourselves. All right? And I want you all to see what else I did. I wrote another poem, and I'll share that one with you as well. It's a bit lengthy, but I wanted to take all of those words that you all shared with me. And sometimes when I'm reading words and I silence the noise, as I suggested to you all before, one of the things that we should probably do sometimes is learn how to silence the noise. You want to hear yourself speak, silence the noise. You want to hear your gifts and talents speak to you and give you vision and direction. Sometimes all you have to do is silence the noise. And that is what I did. I sat with what you all gave me. I took all of those words, and not only did I write about learning and believing and laughing, I wrote that. Not only did I write about the power to bounce back, but I wrote what I hope is an encouraging poem that says, the title is Learning to Live Again. I really call it a revival in life's classroom. And I dedicate this one to all of you all. And before I read this, do me a favor, tell me, would you all like for me to do more of this? Would you all like for me to take more of your words and then just create these, what I think? I hope, and I hope it's not egotistical when I say this to you all, because I was going to say I would like to take your words and create these masterpieces, and I hope it doesn't come across as egotistical when I say creating masterpieces, because I think whatever words we put together, I think whatever colors we put together, I think whatever lyrics we put together, I think they're all masterpieces, not just because they come from me, but they come from the master who gives us the ability to pull those together. All right. So then I want you all to hear this one piece, this one final piece. I see your responses. You're saying yes, 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 yes. So I may take some of your words as we get to the end of this one, but listen, you all listen to this one. The title of this one is A Revival in Life's Classroom. I'll admit it's a little, you be the judge. Just come and go on this journey with me. Because here, this one is about all of us. It's about all of us. We stood on fragile shoulders and souls that were worn. We stood not knowing that days ago we were born to bear, bend, and bounce, but never to break. Not knowing how long it would take to dangle ourselves within ourselves and talk to ourselves for 3 days, 4 months, 6 months while our tears dried. For as long as it would take while our enemies lied about what they didn't see in you or me. The enemy lied, but we stood brave, basked in the sun rays, walked along the water's edge and considered the waves. We celebrated the waves that did not consume us or claim us, but the waves lifted us and the waves sustained us. We navigated the waves, yet we did not sink. The uncertainty of the waves taught us to think, unthink, and rethink. We recall and we grow. We stand tall and now know the small stuff doesn't matter. To treasure the days that are our ladder, that starting early is a better choice. Even if it's late, yes, we still have a voice. And while heartaches and challenges infiltrate our life, wisdom and strength will cloak us from strife. And we listen. Again, we listen. We listen again and learn again, believe again, and we laugh again and again. We laugh about why we stopped laughing, why we stopped learning, why we stopped hoping and believing in ourselves and in our dreams. We now laugh about it. We laugh again. We laugh at the fallacies, the flaws, the fraud, and the folks who told us to shut up and give up, that we were out of time, so we should close our mind. We laugh at those who told us to become complacent and lose our patience, that we were too old, too hurt, too tired, too sad, too disappointed, too late, too scared, too jaded to see through the pain, and too distracted to see the lie that they told. Truth be told, we were too much, too good, and too everything for them. So we laughed beyond the lies, and we lived beyond the lies. And we looked to the skies that gave us syncopated symphonies of hope, in the quarter notes of raindrops, in the half notes of birds chirping, in the full notes of babies exhaling and children inhaling. We looked to the skies that gave us rhythmic raptures of aromatic whispers, of lavender and linen, peaches and strawberries, vanilla, and our favorite dinners. And we were winners because we dared to learn again. We learned how to know again, grow again, live again, see again, be again when we were 10 again. We learned how to be who we were before we became anybody else, when we were discreet and discerning, and intentional about our learning, when we would listen and express all the ways we had been blessed, when we would daydream and believe anything and receive anything that reminded us that we were enough, sufficiently enough, efficiently enough, proficiently enough to stop dying and start living. A revival in life's classroom. You all, it has been my greatest pleasure to debut these poems with you all, to take your words that you so candidly and so freely gave to me and pull together what some of you, thank you, Jay Song, for you, have called masterpieces. I certainly hope that you've enjoyed this. I want to do so much more of this. And perhaps maybe during the summer months, we may just go on a hiatus from reading. And perhaps we can just do this and we can create things together. I love the dynamics of being able to talk to you all and pull your words together and put them together like this. So because I see a lot of the yeses, then we would do just that. But you all encourage people. Encourage people to join us. Why would they join us? It is our hope that they would join us because we're looking for this time together to just be inspired, to be motivated, to be uplifted, to be encouraged. Paula D, thank you so very much. You all, may I just share with you? I want to put these just a few comments. Jay Song says, "I will say it for you. Yes, you are creating masterpieces. Thank you." Tracy Johnson says, "Very insightful and encouraging." MV says, "I am enjoying this. Thank you." And then Paula D, "Thank you so much, my friend Paula." Paula D says, "1800 seconds of gems. Very encouraging." Well, listen, you all have encouraged my heart so much more. So much more. Wow, you all saying this is good stuff. All right. I'm glad that you did not cut anytime. Oh, well, MV, thank you. I wanted to do justice by the words that you all gave. We would do this again. I promise you we would do this again. Most likely, we'll do it again next week. So do me this favor. Tell people, come on, let's talk to Cutler, because just by these words, Jay Song for you says, "I'm going to find me some words and create a masterpiece." But just by sharing these words, I'm lifted. And I hope you are as well. So do me this favor. Let's keep on building community. Let's keep maintaining connectivity. Let's stay safe, stay sane. Keep your heads up. Keep your hopes up. And please know this, that from my heart to yours, there is and always will be so much love. I will see you the next time I see you right here on the Let's Talk to Cutler Virtual Book Club. Good night, everybody.